Greetings everybody, I'm Lobo. Welcome to episode 66 of my Minecraft survival series, and we are not going to be jumping on this bed for much longer because, as you know, we are moving out of here. We are leaving the enchanted pickaxe, our first home in this world, and we're transferring ownership to Chad, and he's actually got some pretty big plans for this place. He is actually converting the upstairs of the enchanted pickaxe into the enchanted snack bar, so good for him. Good for him. That does mean we're going to have to find a new home though. So I was thinking the best place for our new home is an area that we're going to be focusing on here pretty heavily. And it's not our sciencey district. I know that might have seemed like the direction I was heading because I was really excited to get working on the grounds over there. But we can't really make too much progress over there without a guardian farm in place because we're relying pretty heavily on dark prismarine for our sciencey district. And I can't do a guardian farm yet until we get some of our previous projects done. So what that means is that we're going to be shifting focus here to the farming district, and this is where we're going to start building our new home. And you know what, I'm actually really looking forward to it. Like ever since we came out here a couple episodes ago and we kind of laid out the grounds, you know, I've been walking around kind of visualizing what this place could look like, and I'm really excited to get building here to see what we can accomplish. I've even laid out, like, you know, I've reserved some space right here for a future build, and it's not going to be a big rectangle. This is just, like I said, the reserved space for it. We will get back to that at some point in the future. But what we're working on today is our new home, and I want this to be pretty centrally located here in the farming district. So I think probably about right here is a good spot to put it, because that's kind of, yeah, that puts us pretty much in the middle. It gives us access to all the areas of the farming district, and also it should give us pretty easy access to all our building materials and stuff as well. And I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. I've got a bunch of stone bricks laid out in what will be the rough layout of our house, and believe me when I say rough, it is rough. Things are subject to change in here. And this is not the level of our floor either. Like the floor will be elevated a tiny bit. This is just to give you kind of an idea of what everything's going to look like. So let's go ahead and take a quick tour. First of all, we'll come into our small living area, kind of a cozy place where we can come into after a hard day's work, kick up our feet and relax. Over here, this is going to be our enchanting area. Enchanting table will go in the center with bookshelves around the side. And then I'm thinking over here, we could put our anvil and kind of, you know, have armor pieces and stuff like that. Let's open it up just a little bit. And I have haste 2 on, so let's be careful when we do that kind of stuff. That's what I'm thinking for right here. And then back here, we'll have our bedroom. We can put our bed back here and have project storage and a closet right in this area. Pretty simple layout of the house. You know, that's all we really need as a Minecraft character. Now, thinking about like kitchens and bathrooms and stuff like that, non-essential items, if we decide to do a second story on this, we may add those in just for fun because that could be, you know, a lot of fun to build and add a little bit more life to this place. But one thing that is essential that I haven't covered yet is our storm cellar. And as you know, we get a lot of thunderstorms in this area and we need a place to take shelter from them. So I'm thinking having a little storm cellar right about here could be really good. And also I mentioned I wanted easy access to our storage. So that storm cellar is actually going to double as an entrance into our underground storage system. So let's figure out how we want to put this storm cellar in here. I want to have it on the side of our house because that gives us pretty easy access to it from really anywhere in our farming district. We won't have to run inside anywhere. The most we'll have to do is kind of just run around the side of our house and then boom, there it is. So let's go ahead and start digging out some area. We'll figure out the dimensions of our storm cellar. We'll figure out how deep we want to go, how wide we want to go with it. And realistically, the storm cellar is just going to be access to our storage system. But build-wise, thinking about the characters and stuff like that, we want it to be wide enough, big enough to be comfortable for them in case they do have to come down here and kind of wait out a storm. So now that we've got some area dug out for our storm cellar, I just wanted to see how it feels going into and out of our storage system from it. And yeah, I think it's going to work. I mean, this is obviously going to look a lot nicer once it's actually, you know, fleshed out a bit and more finished. But right now, I just wanted to get an idea of how it's going to look. And this is not something that we're going to work on today. What we are going to work on right now, though, is how we're going to get into and out of our storm cellar by building a secret passage, because we don't want a big tunnel, like a big hole in our wall in our storm cellar that leads to a tunnel. That's a little shady. So we're going to hide that thing. And I'm thinking we hide it behind a secret sliding bookshelf that's kind of built flush with our wall. And this is going to be our actual wall right here. And books, you know, that seems like a normal thing to have in your storm cellar because you need something to do to pass the time while you're waiting out that storm. You can't watch YouTube, your TV doesn't work, your electricity's out. I think, you know, that's not suspicious at all, having a little bookshelf down here. So let's go ahead and get our wall built up around it. We'll see how it looks. And I think it might actually look better recessed just a tiny bit. So let's go ahead and see if we can recess it, see how that looks. And yeah, you know what? I do like that a little bit better. And also that's going to make our redstone significantly easier to run. So let me go ahead and talk about how I was planning on running the redstone for this bookshelf. Originally, the bookshelf was meant to be flush with this wall, which meant we would have had to pull it back and then off to the side. But as of right now, since it's already recessed, we can just pull each of the bookshelves off to the side without even having to worry about that first step. So let's go ahead and throw some pistons in here and I will show you how we are going to do this. And this should be fairly simple. Basically, all we're going to need to do is get a little bit of space behind each of these pistons, and we'll carve out some of the floor as well. And then all we really need to do is take a block right here. We'll put a redstone torch on that block like this, and then we'll put a block over it, and that torch will power that block. And that block powers that bottom piston. And then all we need to do to power the top one is throw a piece of redstone dust on top of it. That powers the top piston. So once this torch becomes deactivated, that's going to open our door. That's it. That's all there is to it. Torch on, door closed, torch off, door open. So I'm going to do the same thing over here real quick, and I'll kind of say it one more time as I'm doing this. So block right here, redstone torch on that block, powering this block on top of the torch, and then powering this dust, and boom, there it is. So all we need to do now is figure out how to deactivate those torches by pushing a button. We'll probably run the button into maybe a pulse extender or something like that, just so it stays open a little bit longer. But yeah, fairly simple redstone door right here. So once I get this pulse extender in, that should be just about it for our redstone wiring. And as you can see, I have once again overly complicated things. We have two separate door opening systems right here when just one would have done. Like if we put this button on this side, we could have used that same system we used to open it from the Storm Cellar. And as you can see, I actually was planning on doing that. I hollowed out some area. But the thing is, I don't know where the wall is going to be on this side, so I didn't know where to put the button. I do know that there's going to be a wall right here, though, and that's why we ran a separate system on this side, which will open the door. And once the pulse extender signal runs out, the door will close automatically, which it should have done. But the pulse extender is not losing its signal because these lines are connected, and they're not supposed to be. All right, so that should theoretically close the door once the signal runs out. There we go. That is what I wanted to happen right there. Now, moving on to our Storm Cellar side, the other side of this wall, it's wired up the exact same way. It's mirrored on both sides. So once we push this button, the doors will open. And then once the pulse extender signal fades, the door will close. And that's working great. So let me go ahead and show you the redstone. And why is it that I have a hole back here? Let me figure out where this goes real quick. Hold on. Oh, that's when we were planning on running the separate signal like up through this side, which we are no longer planning to do anymore. So we actually can kind of clean this up a little bit. Let's go ahead and just block this off, and then we will talk about the redstone. So that button is going to send a signal into this pulse extender, which is then going to send a signal out of that repeater right there. Basically, the signal is going to remain in this pulse extender until it fades out. But the entire time it's fading out, the signal coming out of that repeater is going to be full strength because that's what repeaters do. So that line, when active, will feed into another repeater right here, which is attached to this block, which is the block our redstone torch is attached to, and also the redstone dust on top of that. So once that block becomes activated, the torch and the redstone will cut off, extending or retracting these pistons. It's the same thing here on this side, the exact same setup, just mirrored. So yeah, you guys already know how that works. So yeah, I hope that clears everything up. Like this system over here is the exact same thing. It just feeds in from the opposite direction. I put up some walls so we can get a better idea of how this place is going to look. It's all stone brick right now, but we will vary up the blocks when we come back down here to decorate. The floor is half slab, so you don't have to worry too much about mobs spawning down here. I believe the only spawnable spaces are these spots in front of the bookshelves, which we can pretty easily take care of when it comes time to actually make sure we don't have creepy crawlies, spawning in our basement. So the next thing we want to focus on, though, is how do we get down here? We want to have a doorway, a cellar door that leads down into our Storm Cellar. And here's the thing, we can't just do this because this is going to be a huge pain in the butt whenever we want to get down there. So we're going to have to figure out some way to get all those trapdoors to open up simultaneously, which means I'm probably going to be doing a bit more redstone. And I'm not going to, drag you guys through the process with me. I'm going to go ahead and try to figure this out off camera, and then I'll come back and show you guys what I've got. And hopefully it's something that actually works. All right, we've got our wiring in place now, and it's time for a trial run of this thing, and I'll go ahead and walk you through the redstone as we're doing this. So as far as the trapdoors go, we just have repeaters running into the blocks that are attached to the trapdoors. So while those blocks are getting a signal, the trapdoors will remain open. Now, if we want to cut the signal to those trapdoors, all we have to do is push this button. That will cut the signal and close all the trapdoors simultaneously. If we push the button again, that will give them all a signal and open them up simultaneously again. Now, how all this works is thanks to a T flip-flop, which is basically a toggleable on-off switch. So these two hoppers right here have one item that transfers between them every time we push that button. So when the item is in this hopper right here, it will send a signal out of that comparator through all this redstone to the other side and basically power those repeaters, which I showed you earlier. So you can see how the redstone is run up here and basically just runs this way into those repeaters. Now this redstone over here, that is also connected to our T flip-flop, but that is also connected to a different button inside our cellar. So let's go ahead and push that button and we can watch how this works. So push the button, the doors close, and if we were to say push that button again, the doors should open. Perfect. And now these buttons are, since they're connected to the same flip-flop, they work together. So we can close the door from up here, or somebody can lock us down in our cellar, and we're like, hey, don't do that. That's not a great plan, because we can just push the button from in here and get out. Yeah. Hopefully that made sense. I feel like I just ramble sometimes. But now that we have all our redstone run for our cellar, our storm cellar, which is actually going to be the key feature of this build right here, which is going to give us access to our storage system and all that, which is going to be pretty cool. I think we can go ahead and start building up. I think we can go ahead and start getting a structure built in here, but first we need to kind of figure out our block palette. So I think I've got the walls narrowed down to white concrete with oak or birch in front of them. As far as the roof goes though, that's where I'm having a little bit of trouble. You can see I've kind of, thrown some prismarine stairs up here to see how they would look. And because like we have jumping jack-o'-lanterns over here, that has a dark prismarine roof, which I really like. But we are going to be using a lot of dark prismarine over at our science district. So I didn't want to use too much of that over here in the farming district. So I was looking at the other prismarines, but I'm not a huge fan of those, like as far as the aesthetic we want over here goes. So I'm thinking maybe we go with like spruce wood or something for our roof. So I'm going to go ahead and see how that looks with the birch. We can go ahead and try that out. And that might give us a little bit more contrast and look a little bit nicer. And I am leaning towards the birch for the walls because we don't really use that anywhere. So it might be nice to actually get some of that in this world somewhere. And I think that probably works. I think we can roll with that. I think we can roll with that for this area. So strip birch logs, white concrete, and spruce roof. Yeah. So I was collecting my concrete. I was converting my concrete powder into concrete blocks when I saw something pretty neat that I kind of wanted to share with you guys. If you look through water from up in the sky, you can actually see through the clouds. Like we can see straight through the clouds to our city, looking through the water from up in the sky. I thought that was pretty neat. I just wanted to share it real quick. Another thing is we haven't really discussed the look we're going for in our house that we're building today. Since it is in the farming district, I want it to look very much like a farmhouse. Something that's going to look very much at home there once we do leave, because we are eventually going to leave it and give it to one of our villagers once we move out, because this is just like the enchanted pickaxe was that we're moving out of now in the business district. This is going to be a temporary home for us. We will not have a permanent home until we build Wolf's Keep, which is sometime in the future. But yeah, as of today, what we're going to be building is a little farmhouse here, a nice little farmhouse. So I've got Watchdog all set up. I'm thinking what we do now is go ahead and put on a bit of music and let's get this thing built. Welcome back, everybody, and now we have a nice outline, a nice idea of what we're going to be doing with this house, and I think this really suits the aesthetic that we're going for over here in the farming district. I think we can definitely work with this. Now, all we did was give a rough outline of the exterior. There's still plenty to do. For instance, the entire interior will need to be done, but that will be done another day, because right now we still have plenty of work we still need to do on the exterior. But yeah, I kind of like this. I like how we have the porch going around here, the nice elevated deck that goes around the entire house, and I'm actually missing a little backing block right here. Give me those, please. And then we'll put that right there, and then this right there. I thought that was kind of cool. I kind of did that on accident, but I ended up liking it. And as we move around to the side of our house here, you can see our storm cellar is now underneath this nice covered patio right here. And let me just actually make sure this still works because I was messing around with it. All right, and perfect. So one of the next things we're going to need to do is figure out where our windows are going to go, especially on that top floor, because there are none up there, except for that one in the front. There's one window on the second floor, but that's it. So let me go ahead and get some glass. Let me carve out where our windows are going to go, and we'll figure out where we want to go from there. We'll just take it step by step. Cannonball! Ow! Okay, now we have some windows in place, and this thing's starting to take shape. I'm thinking I'm going to go with like the birch trapdoors for shutters and stuff like that. We need to start figuring out where we're going to put our details and stuff in, because there are some areas that are definitely looking a bit too plain. For instance, this area right here on, above those windows, this over here, it's kind of looking a little too plain. So we need to figure out how we're going to handle that. So I was thinking maybe we could use some more strip birch to kind of bridge some gaps here and fill in some of this blank space. So let's go ahead and experiment on, let's go ahead and pick this side right here. I think this is probably gonna be the easiest for us to access right now. We can go ahead and kind of pull some of this roof out right here and just kind of bridge this gap between these two birch pillars right here. And we can see how this is gonna look. So let's just go ahead and strip them real quick, and then we'll back up and we'll see if this is something we want to roll with for the rest of it. Let me just get my stairs back, and then we'll hop up here, and to be honest, I don't know. I don't know that I like that. It's still too blank up top anyway. So I don't know. Let me try to figure this out. Maybe we need to punch another window in here. Maybe that's the answer. Another window? Yeah, I'm not feeling the log, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that out, put this back in, and I'll show you what I'm working with right now. I did punch another window up at the top here, but I'm thinking maybe what we do to fill in this blank area is actually kind of dress up our lower windows, which kind of makes a little bit more sense and is going to be a little bit less busy overall since we are going to be doing this anyway. So let me go ahead and get these in here like this. Let's take you out and put you like this. And then I want to shrink these windows down just a little bit. So we're going to get rid of this glass right here. We're going to get rid of this glass right here, and then we're going to fill that in with not that. We're going to fill that in with white concrete to match the walls, and then we're just going to put our shutters right here, right here, right here, and right here. And I think that should give us a little bit better look and kind of fill in that space a little bit more cleanly. So if we were to carry that up through this side and add not only awnings on top of the window, but little flower ledges below it, I think that works. That actually looks kind of cool. It not only accentuates the window, but it fills in that space much better than that log did. So yeah, I think this is probably what we can roll with throughout the rest of the house. I think I do need to sleep through the night before I do any more though, because I'm not sure when it was the last time I slept. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that. Flower ledges below the windows like this. And I'm wondering if we should do awnings, like where it's gonna maintain contact with the roof. I don't know. Let's do this real quick and just see how it looks. See if it looks better with it than without it, and we'll decide whether or not we want to do that or just stick with the ledges below. So we'll do this, and we'll do this, and we'll pop back, and yeah, I think it works better with than without. All right, time to sleep. Next, let's go ahead and talk about lighting, because we need to address the issue of mob spawning, because all these blocks are on the full block level, which means they're all spawnable. And the last thing we want to have happen is to walk out our front door, look across our porch, and there's a creeper coming at us sizzling, So we have glowstone in here, but the thing is, like, you can see it, right? You can see it. From the top, that's easy. We can cover it up with a trapdoor. That's all fixed. From the side, though, we have a pretty simple solution to that as well. We can just go ahead and throw stairs in here. So we keep the same effect of that indentation underneath our porch, but we have our hidden lighting that shows through the trapdoor. And we can pretty much continue this throughout and put lighting wherever we feel like we're going to need it. So right there, we just do our trapdoor on top. We get rid of this slab, and then we throw a stair in there, and it should maintain that same effect that we were going for pretty well. And that, oops, fell a little bit. And that should take care of all our details and lighting. And since it is nighttime now, we can go ahead and take a step back and have a peek at this and just see how it looks overall. Make sure it's well lit, make sure it's looking decent, and I like that. I like that. I try to restrain myself a little bit with this build. I try not to add too many details to it because that's an issue I've had, like adding loads and loads of details into builds and stuff like that. I kind of wanted to pull back and just see if we can make a nice, simple, clean looking farmhouse. And I think this actually looks pretty cool. I have like an unintentional face. Let me know if you can see it. I even have nostrils. But yeah, I think this actually ended up looking pretty cool, and I am pretty happy with how this thing turned out. I just want to have a peek at it from all sides and just make sure everything is good with it before we call it a day. And we will come back at a later point and do all our interior and all that stuff and actually get moved in. I do think I need to add a little bit more ground out here. Yeah, we definitely need to take care of that. Oh, and I added some furniture out here on our patio. So now we can hang out, you know, sip some lemonade, enjoy the breeze. It's going to be awesome. So let's just take a quick walkthrough of the other stuff we did today, namely our basement down here, our storm cellar with our redstone, and just make sure everything is still working the way it should. Oh, that's nice. That's nice coming out into the sun. Oh, man. I'm liking this. I'm pretty happy with what we ended up with today. And of course, there's still more work to be done. There's the entire interior left to do. There's getting moved in and all that stuff. But that is for another time. I think we are going to call it here, my friends. My friends. Hi. Having some trouble with the camera there. But yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this episode, please feel free to hit that little thumbs up button. That would mean a lot to me. And if you want to see more, please remember to subscribe. And as always, I just want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I deeply appreciate it. And until next time, I am Lobo, and I will see you guys later.